The day a father saved my life. When I stopped apologizing for existing, Lewis was one of my best friends, but I almost never went to his house because his dad scared me. Every time he saw me, he'd comment on how I was dressed, how I walked, or how I talked. And I already had enough with my own parents, let alone dealing with more. But one winter night, I showed up at his door with a puffy face from crying so much. I didn't expect his dad to open his eyes in surprise and rush to help me. I told him Lewis had said I could come, and he didn't ask questions. He just stepped aside and said, "No shoes on the hallway. If you're staying, you follow the rules of this house." What he didn't know was that I'd do anything to avoid going back to my house, where my mom pretended not to see anything, and my stepfather would crawl into my room every night and lie on top of me. I never told anyone, not even Lewis. He just thought I'd had a fight with my parents. I went inside. His house smelled like toasted bread and fried onions. I sat at the kitchen table on a wobbly chair. My stomach growled so loud I thought a lamp might fall. And I said, "Sorry, sorry, sorry." The dad of Lewis sat in front of me and started explaining how things worked. He told me I had to eat breakfast with them every day, that I'd sleep in a bed, not on the couch, and that he didn't accept arguments. If something happened at school, I had to tell him. I couldn't skip dinner unless I was unconscious or dead, and I had to help cook at least 3 times a week. Movie nights were mandatory, and if I looked bad, he'd play a musical just to annoy me. Then he said, "Listen carefully because this is important. I don't know what you're used to, but if you ever come back here apologizing for being hungry, I'll throw a spoon at the wall and say it was an accident." I laughed genuinely. For the first time, I saw his eyes soften. Then he went back to stirring the pot as if nothing had happened. The first days were weird. Everything felt like a trap. I came from rules without sense, made just to confuse you and hurt you. At my house, my mom would yell at me to finish my plate, but if I ate a lot, there was nothing the next day. If I cried, they locked me in, but he'd come in anyway to teach me. If I came late, the door would stay closed until morning. I slept on the stairs, and then they'd scold me for making a fool of myself in front of the neighbors, so I tested him. One day, I skipped breakfast on purpose. I thought he'd get angry or stop looking at me like I mattered. But when I left, after Lewis and his sister went to school, he made me fresh pancakes without saying anything and stayed there watching me eat. Another time, I refused to go to game night. He took me to a closet full of board games and made me choose one. That night, I couldn't take it anymore. I asked him if his rules were the kind that punish you if you break them. He looked confused. I said, "No, these are the kind where if you follow them, you earn more allowance." I cried so much I couldn't speak. He didn't ask why, and he never asked when I was going to leave. By the 3rd week, I was already by his side in the kitchen, helping make the sauce, learning to add salt without a measuring cup. By the 4th week, I asked for his lasagna recipe. He told me I needed my own recipe box because he had many more to teach me. I still couldn't say thanks out loud. But that night, I wrote a note. I slipped it under his door when no one was watching. I wrote, "Thanks for teaching me what a real father is. I thought rules were only for controlling people and making you feel like you're not worth anything. But yours are different. You made sure I had a coat, that I didn't go hungry. You gave me a home before I even knew I needed one. I don't know if I believe in happy endings, but for the first time in my life, I sleep without fear. I wake up without wondering where I'm going. Now I know what it feels like to be safe, and I know exactly who taught me.